I've been thinking a lot about the power of collective visualization. And for me, it comes as a solution to so many of the problems that we are facing right now. I would say as a country, as women, as Africans, as Black people, as, whatever it is. And collective visualization just basically means having a group of people come together for the purpose of imagining a particular outcome. And this makes me think about covens, the power of covens, where a group of 10 to 20 women would convene and manifest a particular outcome. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just love and light. It can also be the intense things. I grew up in a religious family, and there's one thing that my mom used to say a lot. Every time we'd convene and pray, she would say, "Where two or more are gathered, I will be in your midst." And for me, this just kind of amplifies the power of collective visualization, because it makes me think about churches as well, and maybe mosques, and why there's so much positive feedback, or I would say there's so many reviews that come from, religious spaces. And some people will die on the hill of advocating for religion. Again, I'm not here to speak against religion, so let me not even make that the point. I'm just using it as a comparison. But the one thing that we miss, the ingredient that we miss, is the collective manifestation, the fact that it's a group of people who are coming together to wish for one thing to happen. We are literally energetic beings. We're very, very powerful on our own, but just imagine when we converge, when we are many, that is a revolution. And honestly, I don't think that there's anything that I've seen as powerful as when we would converge and pray over something. Literally, you would see results in the shortest time. You have a group of maybe 5 of you or 6 of you, and you're praying about a certain enemy, and within less than 3 days, the enemy is defeated. There was a lot of power that came from that. And you see, many of us who are into spirituality left religion. And because of that, we're quite rebellious to all the things that are connected to religion, one of which is organization. We want to have free will, and we normally say, you know what, I'm going to do what I feel I'm supposed to do intuitively. And that's okay. But I want you to also realize that there are certain aspects of religion that are important, that should be incorporated into our spirituality. Because if you look at the origin of religion, it came from spirituality. They literally picked leaves from other spiritual denominations. Then they added in other things and, gave you a whole book. And they also understand that when you want to rebel, you're going to go against everything. Recently, I was watching a creator whose content has really changed my life. And he was talking about the traumas that he went through growing up, especially with his mother. And in his effort to rebel against his mother, he ended up doing things that were not good for him, because he explained that his mother was very critical of him. And she was critical in the positive and the negative ways. But because he experienced her as being someone who's overly critical, he kind of pushed away any sort of feedback that she gave. And so some of the feedback related to, well, you have to be clean, you have to keep your room clean, you have to eat healthy, you have to walk a certain way, you have to talk a certain way. Those are, okay, there is a positive aspect to that. But because she was also bombarding him with the negative criticism, he just felt like he wanted to reject everything that came from her. And because of that, he became sloppy in his adulthood. His eating habits were very terrible. So he was eating mostly junk. But because for him, it feels like, yeah, let me show her. I'll teach her that. He's harming himself without realizing that. That's the same thing when it comes to this topic. Many of us have been victimized by religion. Personally, the time when I decided like enough was enough, do I want to get into that? All I can say is that it also came from me realizing the role that women played in the Bible and how little of the accolades were given to them. It might be something small, but it caused the ripple effect for me. And so it's understandable when you're moving away from religion for you to reject everything that it's giving you. But the one thing that I want us to keep is visualization, is collective visualization. It's important for us as spiritual people to have moments where we say, it's a new moon, it's a full moon. It's important for us to converge. Religion has Sunday, Friday, overnight and all that stuff. And then you wonder why there's so much good feedback. Then you're going to start saying, oh, our pastor is very powerful. It's collective effort, collective consciousness. Now, let me bring this back to what's happening, the problems that people are having. If you're in a country where you feel like most of you agree on what you would want, then I think collective visualization would be very important for you. Why? Because what's happening right now is, okay, let me use an example that's not triggering. Let's say we want to look at the issues with Karamoja. Perhaps they don't have food. We're going to visualize in this way. We're going to focus, number one, I would say we would have to have like a schedule because like I said, I grew up in a religious family and some of the things that I picked were whenever we'd be praying, my mom would start, she's a very like spiritual person. So she would be the one to say, okay, now, first of all, we're going to pray. We're going to first break these chains about this. Then all of us concentrate on that prayer for like 5 minutes. And then after that, she says, now we're going to pray for renewal, this. And all of us are focusing on the same exact thing. Right? So I would tell you, first of all, let's envision that there are no kids on the streets in Kampala. The Karamojong kids. Not because the government has pushed them away, but because they have enough to eat. They're being funded, fertilizers are being given to them for their land. There's irrigation schemes that are being put in place, And then phase 2, I could say, now let's envision the fat cattle, healthy people in their villages. And what else? Better hospitals, better leaders, in that particular place. That is an example of envisioning. As opposed to, you are sitting there, all of us are sitting, let me give an example of like 10 people who are worried about Karamoja. One person is angry, you're sending anger into the aura, into the auric field. You're worrying about them. Oh, I'm so worried about the kids. Oh, it's so sad. This other person is perhaps criticizing the government. Oh, they're doing this is so wrong and this and that. So like, it's a mixture of vibrations, and so they don't form a symphony. Do you get what I'm saying? It's confusion after confusion. If all of us want the same thing, why do we not all unite and collectively visualize it. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get the whole world to do it at the same time. But if you understand the power of 2 or more people, you can have a group of like 10, and you're like, every Sunday or every, you choose your day, we wake up at 3 a.m. and all of us visualize this particular outcome. I want you to understand that there's an art to visualization. You don't just say, let's all think about Karamoja being okay. You get into detail. You get into detail and you say, how exactly should we visualize them being okay? So that you create a symphony, so that it's a harmonized visualization. You will start to believe in magic when you realize that it has more to do with everyone else. We are energetic beings. You are powerful on your own. But just imagine when it's more than just you. Yeah? So in the bid to get over these intense feelings that we're all feeling during this time, again, it's a peak season and there's a lot happening. We have the full moon that's coming up. We have the retrograde. We have other things that and it's hard not to feel powerless. But in trying to work through my emotions around that, I figured, hey, I think this would actually work. This would actually, it would create a spiritual revolution. And I know that for anything to happen in the physical, it must happen in the spiritual as well. And in case you don't know, the people you're going against are already doing this. If that means the big corporate groups that run the world, the systems of power that have oppressed you, or just anyone and everyone right now is using energy. So wake up. Wake up and consider using your power for good. Because honestly, I don't know any other way to see it. The worry that you send into the vibration doesn't help. The fear that you send into the vibration doesn't help. The anger that you're sending is only being harvested. So how about you compose yourself and do something that's actually within your power and that's less violent? It can be as simple as visualizing a country where the people that you've elected are actually using the resources to improve your life. It doesn't have to be anything extreme, but it just has to be consistent. I want you to apply this in any area of your life. Yeah. I actually had a post that was scheduled for today, but I just couldn't put it out. It didn't feel right. And I'm glad I've shared this because I feel like a weight has been lifted off my chest. And I hope it also expands your consciousness and offers you some emotional freedom or some release of an emotional burden that you're carrying right now. Makes you feel like you don't have power. You do. You do. You really do. Thank you for trusting me with your energy. Bye.